me. This song is something that I wrote with the Lord's help probably about 2 months ago. And in the midst of my addiction and my use, I had lost the ability to write music. And that's one of the things that I love the most, besides Jesus, is writing music. So I was just really thankful when the Lord blessed me with the gift to write music again. And of course, that came as I praised Him and I learned more about Him and got in contact with Him. So this is called More Like You. It's not true. It was a lie, and it was something that I believed up until the moment I got out of treatment this time. I went to Wenatchee, and that's just where the Lord took me. It was the one town on the West Coast that I had been before that I didn't know where to get drugs or alcohol within 15 minutes. And I went up there, and every single word out of every Christian's mouth, and I was surrounded by Christians everywhere I went. In my my drug counseling at the center, which is Drug Rehabilitation Center, every single counselor I got was a Christian. And every single conversation we had ended up being about Jesus and Jesus alone, and how he has enough grace and it's sufficient for me to be not just forgiven, but forgotten all the sins, you know, to have them all taken away from me. When I realized that, after I heard it out of so many mouths for 2 months straight, then I started to really understand that I'm not that horrible person that I used to be. I'm not that horrible person that just went around for 15 years doing drugs and alcohol. You know, I'm not that horrible person that relied on those things and had no friends, you know, in all reality. You know, I thought I was a good person. I was at the top of the list, though. When I finally released that position to the Lord, then everything else began to fall in place. And getting into the ministry that I'm involved in up in Wenatchee is what did it for me. Writing the music for the Lord again, you know, giving everything up in my life to Jesus is what has drove the cycles of insanity. This time, if anybody out there wants to stand up and share what has helped them break the cycle of insanity to start their way to recovery, we'll take that, please.